re-audition for parts later in the series?
No, and this speaks to Wally Burr's expertise as well. He never resisted or avoided anything that would take more time in the name of convenience. Everyone auditioned for everything, but he would give us, I don't know if he gave us first shot or if we just happened to be the first in, but I would see other cast members. You'd come back into that Wally Burr North studio, which we all essentially lived in for most of our working hours. And he would have the next 4 or 5 or 6, or there would be maybe up to 8 characters on the table. Almost everyone was allowed consideration for anything. Once he knew that he had cast an ensemble that he felt was that versatile, he didn't profess to know what else you might be right for. But everyone had an opportunity to be considered. I don't know if we were first for consideration or if we just felt like we were first. And after that, he would go further and further and further. And I'm sure at some point, it began to be more attractive to bring new people in from the outside as well. But I auditioned for everything just as everybody auditioned for everything. And then, you know, there are many elements in that casting procedure because they've got Hasbro involved, they had Sunbow involved, so there was a layering to the casting. But Wally was very devoted. He was a really stern taskmaster, but he was one of the first people I'd ever experienced in animation, and I thought that was the way it was. P.S. He wasn't making any demands that those of us, all the people that I've named, plus all the rest of the people in the room, wouldn't have made of ourselves anyway. No one was looking for convenient. We were all looking for it to be the best it could be. Next.
What's the most rewarding aspect of your job of voice acting?
Well, I don't have to shave. So that's good. The short answer is, I've been allowed to raise a family and have a life and look like a responsible adult to a lot of people and at the same time get paid to play. If there's a better job than that, I don't know what it is. But heavy lifting is probably not even close.
How did you first get started into voice acting?
Acting. In theater first. I'm a theater major in conservatory that I went to. I went into a regional theater company which was actually housed in the same building. We had a really, really incredible conservatory structure. Most of the acting faculty of the school were also the resident company of the Loretto Hilton Center, was the name of the performing company. So the same way we were subject to their criticism during the daytime hours, they became subject to our criticism at 8 o'clock every night. So you couldn't just say, do as I say. In order for a member of the acting faculty to have credibility, they had to be able to put up as well as talk a good game.
And do you think that voice acting is much fun than just acting?
I can't even answer that. I like being entrusted with characters. I like finding out what happens. I don't think there's anything more rewarding than live theater because the curtain goes up, the lights go on, house lights go down, and whatever happens over the course of the next 2 hours is the story that you set out to tell. Film can be manipulated beyond your ability to, do you know what I'm saying? There's only you and the lights and the audience. If what you're doing rings true, it'll be received correctly. If what you're doing is false, it'll be received as false. Film and anything voiceover can be manipulated in the directing and post-production phase. So you're not the only element. In fact, you're an element rather than the main focus. And I'm not saying that theater doesn't involve lighting designers and set designers and all of the things that tell the story, but obviously It's just more live. I love the voice. I love it all. I mean, I love the studios. I love the bad coffee. I love the good gossip. I love the waiting time. I love the recording time. You know, and it's nice to get a pat on the back and have somebody tell you you did a fabulous job too. I'm not putting that down at all. But I wouldn't say that I love any one thing at the expense of any of the other things. I just like performing.
All right.
Right, who's next?
I like sitting up and getting a biscuit.
Were you considered at all for the animated series, and if not, do you think there's a reason?
I know there's a reason. I think it was largely either Canadian or dual citizenship cast for animated. I was told, because my agent inquired about Grimlock in particular, that they thought he would either not appear in that series or appear in a very limited capacity. David Kay, who's a friend, this is nothing to him, was already doing several other roles in that show, and they just sort of threw it to him. But no, I don't believe I ever auditioned for any of the characters in that show.
Would you have liked to, though?
Of course. I only get to go where I'm invited. That's why I am happy that I've been invited so many places over so many years. But I can't do those things simply because I would like to do them. But yes, I would love to have some impact on other incarnations and franchises of this show. Just to sort of, I mean, the comedic version of it was last night, where we sort of fiddled with the time-space continuum, but I always thought that would be an interesting element to throw in.
Okay, who's next?
Do you have a favourite episode?
Grimlock's New Brain. For all the reasons I was terrified of it, I just think it's such a bizarre story turn. And I know there are people who think it got too comedic, or it got, they were giving Grimlock a lot of twists and turns, and that's because he was being received well, and the figures, I mean, there was a corporate aspect to a lot of it. It should have nothing to do with the creative process, but it does. And they were giving me more to do, and some of it, this is actually an interesting question, because some of it that was perceived as too comedic, I didn't perceive as too comedic, because I was just, I like challenges within a script. So I already felt that I knew him in 3 dimensions, and that anything that I did or said as him, I was entrusted with making that the truth. So my job was just to make the words and the pages become part of that world. I said this last night as well, in order to make that judgment call and analyze the overall story arc and all of those things, I would have to take myself outside the character and look in as an analyst rather than an actor. I think actors function at their best, and should, only seeing that work from the inside out. That's the only way you can really do it justice. But that episode, when it was completed, and I thought, I gave it all to Computron, and now I get to go back to just what I want to do. I guess that was my favorite. Yeah.
Was there much difference in the experience of making the movie to an episode?
The animated film?
Yeah.
Yes and no. Wally Burr still directed. Wally Burr still was absolutely devoted to putting all of the people in a given scene into the scene at the same time. He wanted us to feed off of each other. These days, I don't know whether you know, but particularly in interactive gaming, but even in some animated series, out of necessity or maybe out of convenience, they'll put us in the studio 1 person at a time, really isolated, and then put the whole thing together like a jigsaw puzzle. And that can be done. Actually, it gives them more flexibility. For gaming, it's almost easier for them, because each character has so many twists and turns and different interactions than you would have anticipated. but Wally always wanted ensemble work from an ensemble. So whether if there were